And I think one time I was at a beer festival downtown. I was hanging out. I was off. Was with family. We were at a beer festival, a local event. It was a KLEQ one. And someone commented, very professional. That's not a professional look on this and that. And it was on my personal page.
Yeah.
And all my family saw that and they were like, is that what you deal with? And I'm like, yes, I can't even be out enjoying one glass of beer. I'm not even driving, but I just deleted the comment. You'll never win. You'll never win. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn that?
Ooh, about maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, when people would tell me, you're never going to win, you were just never going to win. It's a battle. You have to pick and choose your battles. So sometimes I'll just like their comment, or I've learned you can't fight back with them. Just thank you for your opinion. You're allowed to your opinion, but you're also allowed to turn off the TV or change the channel.
Is it still frustrating when you get that from time to time? It doesn't sound like you get it often, but when you do, it still bothers you, even though that you learn that, okay, I'm not going to let it bother me. But at the same time, at that moment, for 10 seconds, I'm sure there's something that, oh my God,
no,
really?
Before I would cry. I remember one time I cried. I just broke down because some lady emailed me on behalf of her and her husband. I think it was just her. And she said that I looked very unprofessional because I was bottom heavy and that I had thunder thighs, which actually was a compliment because I didn't have. I was
what is that, if you don't mind me asking?
Like big thighs,
okay.
like a Jennifer Lopez type of deal. So I was like, why, thank you. But she just went off on how it's very unprofessional for you when you turn to the side, this and that, and I'm a Latina. I am proud of my curves. And I thought, do I have to? I was actually a size 0, but I had curves. So I was like, so what does she want me to be anorexic? Because I'm not going to lose my curves if I stop eating. So I remember I cried that night, and my boyfriend at the time, he worked with TV and TV news with me, but he would not get half of what I would get. And I just cried and cried, and he was just like, wow, that, like, you guys get that? And I'm like, yeah. And I think after that night, I had to realize I was going to write back an angry response, and they were like, go to sleep, wake up the next day, see how you feel. I was still upset. I was still hurt. Obviously, if I still tell the story 6 years later, but I didn't reply. I deleted the email. I wish I would have kept it though, just, for
well, I'm sure it's somewhere there, by the way, in the internet.
I had to, because at one point I would keep all of them, and I would go back, and I was like, why are you doing this to yourself? Just delete them. Just don't even, but after that, I had to learn you can't let someone's opinion of you, and that's been hard. I care too much about what people think, but I realize you can't let they're not paying rent to be in your head, and they're not paying your bills. So everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You can love me, you can hate me, you cannot care for me, but I got to understand that let them have their opinion, but don't let it take over your life, because at the end of the day, they don't care. They forgot what they said 2 days ago, and I'm over here 6 years still talking about it.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because, again, I'm sure that there's sometimes that maybe they do hit on a insecurity or something that maybe you also kind of like have thought about it, or maybe something that you grew up thinking that maybe, I don't know what good example to give, but sometimes when they hit that nerve.
And they don't know, and that's the thing, we're real people. Yeah. And we're on TV, but we're not perfect. We're real people. We're going through life too. So yeah, when you email me that I said a word wrong, this and that, maybe I don't know how to say that word. I still don't know how to say Doña Ana. I still don't know. And so I won't say it. But I'm like, we try, but sometimes, we're real people. We have feelings too. And it's unfortunate. There was a point, I think, where a lot of, I follow a bunch of pages on Facebook with journalists. A bunch of them, were committing suicide because it was just tough. They were on screen and people would insult them, and the job in itself is hard. Journalists are not okay right now. We got the pandemic happening. We had, the past few years where the media was the enemy, and we still are, according to some people. So you put that on top of that, and then you have people telling us what we should look like. I get yelled at so many times for wearing sleeveless shirts, and I'm like, that's all I find at the store. So let me live my life.
Really? Wow.
So it's just, it's tough, but we have to remember, they have to remember we're real people too.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's a good reminder for you to see that. I mean, if they are worried, like the audience or whoever's sending you this type of things, if they're worried about someone else aside from themselves, the big problem is them, not
Oh no,
you
yeah.
also.
And we'll still,